are now listening to the War Report Podcast Network.
What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the College Loop Pregame Show as we are here getting ready for the Auburn Tigers as they travel up to Fayetteville, Arkansas to play in Razorback Stadium at 3 o'clock tomorrow as the show comes out to play the Arkansas Razorbacks in a battle of the 5-4 Auburn Tigers and the 3-6 Arkansas Razorbacks. I almost had that so smooth, but I drew it out. I'm here joined by Mr. Harrison Tarr. Ty, how you doing, buddy? Before we introduce our guests.
I am doing great. What does not get you fired up more than a 5-4 team taking on a 3-6 team at 3 o'clock? I mean, it really just it gets the blood pumping. But what I'm excited about today, Dylan, is to continue our series of being able to speak with the brilliant minds of SEC student journalists and journalists around the country. We thought we were just going to get the sports editor of the Arkansas Traveler. Hell, we got half of the section. No, I'm being No, this is such an awesome surprise. The same thing happened at A&M. The coolest dudes in the world. Y'all need to connect with them, by the way. Gentlemen, from the Arkansas Traveler, introduce yourselves. Thank you guys so much for joining the show. Super pumped to have you guys on Talks Ball.
My name is Dylan Stewart. I am the sports editor. And this is Cooper Gant.
I'm a football writer for the Arkansas Traveler.
And this was actually our entire section, literally, when I came into the position. It was literally us two. So it basically is. Yeah.
Like a well-oiled machine.
So Sam Pittman's not the only recruiter on that campus. Or it's not just Eric Musselman. You're out there recruiting right there next to him.
Yeah, we got up to 14 riders. So I've been packing up the must bus.
That's right. Packing up the must bus. Tell us a little bit about yourselves, gentlemen. Just tell us where you're from, what your majors are, what year you are, and then we'll talk ball, I promise. But we want to get to know you a little bit. You know what I mean? The people want to know.
I'm from Fort Worth, Texas, but my family is really from Seattle. At least my parents are. So I was raised a Seattle sports fan. I grew up a Husky fan as well. So I'm excited to get to talk about the UW game coming up later. But outside of that, of course, my allegiance lies entirely with the Razorbacks when I'm not being an objective journalist. I've been working in sports journalism since high school. I love it. It's what I want to do one day. It's such a fun career, and I'm so incredibly excited to be here with y'all.
And my name is Dylan.
Sorry.
Yeah,
it's been rough. The Ravens game was rough.
He's got to deal with the manners too. Jeez.
Sorry, Dylan, go ahead.
But yeah, I'm from Texas too. From Sherman, Texas. It's about an hour north of Dallas. Came to Arkansas after starting my journalism career covering combat sports in the Dallas area, and then eventually I transitioned to more traditional sports like basketball and baseball, and made my way to being the sports editor at the newspaper, and hopefully carry on with that until I graduate.
Right on. Combat sports. Dude, don't mess with this guy.
Yeah, I
originally
wanted to be a fighter, but it just wasn't tough enough for that. But
when you say combat sports in Texas, I thought you meant like duels. Like quick draws.
Yeah.
I was like, you're up for like Billy the Kid. And
so what we've learned is that Cooper does not want to piss off Dylan. I'd make sure I meet all my deadlines if I were you.
I will say,
Cooper, team bonding boxing. It's pretty intense.
Not really.
Not really.
I was hoping that was real.
No, not at all. Nicest guy you'll ever meet. Seriously, Dylan's the best.
That's all right.
I would say, Cooper, you'll get no sympathy from me about your Seahawks losing. As a Panthers fan over here, you'll get no sympathy about your loss to the Ravens.
It's a tough world out there. But let's talk Auburn, Arkansas, guys. Let's talk what we came here to talk about. Not that I'm not all for the trains going off the rails. I'm always about it. But let's talk Auburn, Arkansas. And gentlemen, I'm going to open up this general kind of just preview look here. We talk about it all the time here on the show, obviously from an Auburn perspective, looking out. You guys watch more Arkansas football than 99.9% of the rest of the world. The other 1% is Sam Pittman and his staff. So let's talk a little bit about what Arkansas has done well this year. Is the miscues, KJ Jefferson not playing the season that a lot of people thought that he was going to. What has been the Achilles heel for Arkansas to be at 3-6 at this point? Because a lot of people think, and myself included, that they're a hell of a lot better than that record shows. So first off, let's just start there with what's killed Arkansas at this point in terms of just self-inflicted wounds, whatever that may be.
Well, I'll start. I'll give you my answer, and then I'll pass it over to Cooper. He took the first half of the season for the most part, so he'll have a little more detail when it comes to the technical side of things. But for me, yes, that is true. KJ has not been playing up to the expectations that we had. We actually ran a story saying that he was a potential Heisman candidate, and that got a nice retweet by somebody pointing out after the fact that he is not a Heisman candidate.
The story came out
It came out in August,
right?
In our defense,
before we saw a single snap.
But the thing I'm getting at here is, I think a big issue, and this is sort of, you can sort of say that this is a scapegoat answer, but I think a big issue was the offensive play calling by Daniel Enos, who is now, of course, no longer with the program. Instead, we have Kenny Guyton, who led the offense in Florida, and I think we all saw a pretty big step up in both the play calling and KJ's performance on the field. So I do think that was a major aspect, but and there's still definite issues, like particularly with penalties in big areas. And I think a lot of that does fall on Sam Pittman personally.
Sure.
Pretty much everything Dylan said. A lot of it goes back to the offensive line play, especially early on and in big moments too. That absolutely killed us against Brigham Young. I'd say that had a really big impact on that game. Close games, of course, Arkansas not really being able to pull out whenever we get to that fourth quarter. Tight, packed stadium, loud ball game on the line, 2-minute drills, et cetera, et cetera. Those have really been weakening our ability just to kind of pull out those last minute games. And of course, Dan Enos, obviously everyone is quick to point the finger at him, but he himself isn't on the play throwing the ball, catching it, et cetera. So to the impact he had is, of course, it's important to address, but ultimately it falls on the players, a majority of the close minute games, so on and so forth.
And to jump off what he's saying too, and we talked about this a little bit off air, but our record really is, it should be a lot closer than it actually seems at 3-6. I mean, most of the games that we lost were by one score. I think we lost 5 of our games by one score. And these are against the middle of our schedule was top tier when it comes to playing LSU.
Auburn gets that.
Right. Yeah. But
okay,
no, I go ahead.
No, yours. Finish it out. I'll you.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say, I mean, these are not terrible losses, especially the ones to like Alabama, losses to LSU by a field goal. It's not the end of the world. Of course, the A&M loss was pretty brutal, but it is what it is.
Yeah, Arkansas fans, not huge enthusiasts of losing to Texas A&M, from my understanding. So I'm sure that's the case. I do have one sidebar question. I know Dylan's going to get into X's and O's, and I'll let him kind of cook here in a second. Sorry, Dylan Larck's going to get into X's and O's here in just a second. Sorry for the confusion. Just getting the thermometer, putting the thermometer out there. How hot is that seat on Sam Pittman? Is it heating up?
I really think that they're going to give Sam a bit of a longer leash. I think that they're going to give him a leash of maybe 2 or 3 years. I think it's been a little sensationalized within the local media. Just because it's something that gets a lot of clicks, just to see that Sam Pittman's on the hot seat and stuff like that. I mean, he has been performing. He has been underperforming. But I think before they do anything drastic, they're going to try and, get him through his contract before making a major change. And I think, the seasons that we were having with Brett beforehand, they gave Brett quite a bit of leeway too, before switching it up with Sam. But I think it sort of does depend on the way Guyton performs too as offensive coordinator.
100%, like Dylan said. And of course, the business move of getting rid of Enos bought him more time, arguably. But you got to remember that at the end of the day, Pittman has still put together winning seasons. He still can pull off a successful team and build a successful roster around him. So it really just depends what, the analytical side of that office of athletics decides to do with it. But again, with Enos and whatnot, he's bought himself more time, at least with Jefferson and Enos and all that.
Absolutely. He inherited an absolute dumpster fire a couple of years ago after it was Chad Morris. Yeah, it was Chad Morris for what a couple. He ran that program.
Yeah, right. Yeah, the famous 2-10 season.
That was.
We're just choosing to ignore the Chad Morris here. From the Brett Bielema transition to.
Yeah. Sorry.
That was I was about to say, man, they really have. I've got a left lane hammer down T-shirt somewhere. I'm sorry, but I'll have to dig that one out and see if I can send you a photo of that relic. But yeah, I mean, there's also got to be that element of patience, right? I mean, it was Arkansas football can be very good and can recruit at a very high level when we've seen that. I mean, not you don't have to look that far back to watch Ryan Mallett highlights, which I recommend everyone do. They're awesome.
Rest in peace.
Yeah, RIP. But thank you for making it morbid. I appreciate that, Dylan. But it wasn't that far back that you had to look back and say Arkansas football was a dominant power. So I would think that you're probably right. But a lot of people trying to build that false narrative outside of Fayetteville too. That Pittman is on his way out, and I don't necessarily. I've not bought it. So, Larck, keys are yours, Tank.
Yeah, about to say, I think one of the. I'm trying to think of all the coaches that are under the hot seat right now. I think Sam Pittman is probably like in the top 5, but it's just because like Jimbo Fisher, and I guess maybe we might go in offseason without seeing a single SEC coach get fired. Well, never mind. Zach Arnett. Never mind.
Yeah. Zach.
I bet Arnett gets another year, by the way.
I don't think Arnett gets another year. I don't think he does it all. He might be the first ever head coach to get canned and then rehired as the defensive coordinator.
That could happen.
I think that's very feasible.
And I think Florida's going to keep some ability. So let's bring it back to Arkansas Auburn.
Yeah, so Auburn's going to this game as I believe it was a 2.5 point underdog to Arkansas Razorbacks. Arkansas, of course, being a team that has lost very many close games. I've had the scores pulled up: 7-point loss to BYU, 3-point loss to LSU. It's 12-point loss to A&M, but then it followed up by a 7-point loss to Ole Miss and a 3-point loss to Alabama, and then of course that glorious 4-point 7-3 loss to Mississippi State that transpired on Saturday, October 21st. Just so no one ever forgets that game ever happened.
Luckily, I was not in the press box for that one. That was Cooper.
I hope they fed y'all well for that game.
Dylan said that's a Cooper problem.
Yep.
It was long. It was a very long Saturday. I was up early for it and right and late. Golly.
Yeah, I kept checking the score. I thought that game is the reason I thought my ESPN app was frozen. By the way, I was convinced that my ESPN app wasn't working because I had to just set the SEC scores, and I was like, man, I guess it's just bad service in Jordan-Hare Stadium. And someone's like, no, that was the final.
Yep.
Homecoming game too. Homecoming game. All that.
Yeah, it was homecoming.
Oh my God. Hey,
glad y'all
I can one up you. Vanderbilt scheduled Auburn for their homecoming. So,
wow.
Yeah, it can get worse, fellas.
Yeah.
Don't really know if you can have a homecoming game when your stadium is not completely built, but yeah. So y'all coming off of a 3-point win in overtime to a Florida team who for Arkansas being better than their record shows, Florida very, very much worse than what their record says. I think Florida might go winless the rest of the season and finish out 5-7 or 6-6 along those lines. But Arkansas going to this game with probably the worst offensive line in the SEC, 36 sacks, giving up four sacks a game. KJ Jefferson, 16 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, and the run game not really finding a rhythm thus far. And Rocket Sanders, of course, has been off and on the injury list. And is he going to be playing on Saturday?
I'm pretty sure that he's going to be playing on Saturday. But yeah.
And defensively, Auburn has been very good against the run thus far. And is there any sense of worry about if this run game can't get started in one of these games at least some point? Because Arkansas has been very good at running the ball the last 2 years, no matter what the record says. I mean, Rocket Sanders, I believe, was second in the SEC in rushing yards last year, right behind Quinshawn.
Yeah.
So, is there anything going on in the sphere that is Sam Pittman going on with getting the run game started?
Well, they've had to deal with not having the run game get going for a little while now, just because we haven't had Raheem Sanders available, and I think that AJ Green did an okay job in spurts there as our RB1, but I do think that Sanders is on the upswing. He's been looking good in practice, and he did look pretty good in the game. It was his first 100+ yard game on Saturday. And I feel like I think he might have come back a little bit too early. And I think that he just wasn't ready and couldn't keep up with the pace of the game. And, like you said, finding his footing. So I think that is going to be a difference. I think it's going to be a refreshed Rocket Sanders, but we are going to be going up against a tough defensive line, and that will be interesting. I know Cooper is not super optimistic about our O-line, but yeah.
But again, I mean, like Dylan said, Rocket Sanders is on the upswing. KJ obviously puts the fear in God into 3-star linebackers trying to do routine tackles. I mean, 240 pounds of just straight muscle. He can get the job done where others can't. So as much as it's as easy as it could be to kind of get pessimistic about this, I still have hope that we're going to be able to find success on the ground. I mean, we found, again, Rocket Sanders put 103 yards on the ground against Florida. We're still going to find success on the ground, at least to a certain extent, or whatever we need to get that we can't fulfill by the air.
Yeah.
Now,
and this Auburn defense, of course, being a turnover machine, and KJ Jefferson going into this game with a 2-to-1 touchdown interception ratio, and Andrew Armstrong, 623 yards. I don't know if he's going to hit 1,000. I don't think so, especially against Auburn secondary. That's just me. I'm a little biased about it, but that's just me saying it. But DJ James, Nehemiah Pritchett, Jalen Simpson all found ways to get turnovers in the last 3 games in a row, and Auburn on a 19 game streak of getting a turnover. Tarr?
Yes, 19.
And is there any worry about KJ Jefferson's ability to pass the ball against his Auburn secondary?
I mean, I think I personally have been pretty surprised at just how many interceptions that KJ has thrown this season, and I'm not really, I really can't wrap my head around what the issue is there. Originally, it was the play calling, but it was still an issue. It was an issue in Florida too. So I do think that is a concern, and we do have issues with turnovers anyway in general. And with penalties as well, especially in big areas too, big moments, just like in the overtime game against the Gators. But
yeah, I mean, if I had any clue what the issue was, surely I'd be wearing a pair of headset down on the sideline on Saturday. Again, it's a little bit awkward, almost is not necessarily the term I'm looking for, but it's kind of difficult to wrap your head around when you look at KJ last year, who was able to just make something out of absolutely nothing. But I'm still confident, even despite the Auburn defense and secondary being as good as it is, KJ's decision making will at least be enough to get us through.
I'm going to pose this then as a kind of a little overarching theme for the Arkansas offense. I'm going to ask the same question, so y'all can go and start thinking about it on the defensive side of the ball here shortly. But just kind of a fill-in-the-blank question for you here. Sorry, guys, I know you're not studying for a quiz, but this one's pretty easy and it's straightforward. But for Arkansas to beat Auburn on Saturday, the offense has to do blank. What is fill in the blank? What is the key to success for Arkansas in terms of being able to run their own game plan?
Well, for me, I think the key would be to establish the run game early on. And that might be a difficult thing to do, but I think they're well equipped. And I think that AJ Green is going to be a good RB2 option, especially because of the experience he has gained in substituting for Rocket Sanders. But I also think that it's really important for KJ, for the O-line to, give KJ a break a little bit. But I still think that KJ's ability to run the ball too, just keeping KJ mobile. I mean, that's one of his best assets. He's one of the best mobile quarterbacks in the SEC, in my opinion. I still believe that when he's not throwing an interception. But when he is on the run, he is very, very hard to stop.
1,000%. Whether we choose to win by land, by air, or by sea, it's going to be important to get it going early. If not for divine intervention, Florida would have hit that field goal in the fourth quarter, and we wouldn't be looking at the same story that we're looking at now. So wherever Arkansas chooses to score primarily or chooses to target the Auburn defense with, they got to get it going early and on.
And the other thing I want to add about this too is I think that they're going to be super motivated coming into this game because they realize that their bowl eligibility is going to be slipping away. And if they want to stay bowl eligible, I mean, we have FIU after Auburn and we have Mizzou. And Mizzou is going to be a tough game, but we should be able to handle FIU. But they have to win against Auburn first, of course.
Can't get focus on the bigger picture here. You got to take it week by week at this point.
Trust me, Auburn is in that same camp. That is the general consensus about that. I will ask, and I know Dylan's about to flip over to the Arkansas defense here in just a moment. But I will ask: Are there any concerns in y'all's minds, or I guess do you think that it plays to the favor of Arkansas rather? Auburn's got one linebacker by the name of Eugene Asante. I don't know if you've heard about him, but the kid is a freak of nature and a hell of a football player that's made a lot of money this year in terms of NFL draft stock. Is there an element where you can kind of take him out of the game in terms of forcing him to be a QB spy and not letting him cheat back and help his DBs out at all? Is that where you lean on in terms of making the Auburn defense respect what KJ Jefferson can do on the ground, because we know he is a physical, like you said, mountain of a dude.
I mean, I hate to deflect, but I think that's going to be something we're going to see on Saturday, regardless of how they play. Absolutely. That on offensively. Of course, if I knew the answers to some of these questions, I'd be down on the sidelines, right? But I really think that's going to be a game time decision by the Auburn defense of how they're going to combat, of course, KJ's mobility, seeing if our O-line is going to be playing up to par in order to succeed and win on Saturday. There's going to be a lot of individual domino pieces that are going to affect the way that they're going to position him defensively.
Sure. Hey, that's a perfect answer, dude. If I had the answers to those questions too, I would also be wearing a headset. So I completely get it. Dylan, I know you wanted to talk a little bit about the or Larck, excuse me. I know you want to talk a little bit about the Arkansas defense, and then we'll get around to our pick'ems and then slide into the rest of our pick'em segment.
Yeah. And I know this Arkansas defense ranks very highly. I think it's 43rd in rush defense and 46th in pass defense in the country, and could be either way. And I know y'all got Jaheim Thomas from Cincinnati. I love Cincinnati. They were my favorite. They were my favorite G5 school, and now I'm torn between the Big 12 because I always love Kansas. But y'all feel the same way about Jaheim Thomas that we feel about Eugene Asante, a guy who just picked it up this year and has just been lights out. And this Arkansas defense has looked it and definitely had games where they even locked down the Bama offense. And if y'all can get in contact with Sam Pittman about whatever calls y'all found, I am A-okay. I don't like Connor Stallions. I don't like Michigan, and I hope they get banned, but I'm A-okay with y'all passing on the play calling sheet for Alabama onto Auburn for that. But going into this game, Auburn has had a hot streak with Jarquez Hunter, running back who has finally got back into his own name and becoming a very good one of the top running backs in the league. I think he's 7th in the SEC in rushing, if I do remember. He's like 636 yards, back-to-back games with 150 plus. Is there anything? You're probably not off the bat just because you're on the Arkansas side of things. But what's been the game plan around the
run stopping
for the team about stopping the run?
There you go.
Well, I think that Arkansas has done a really great job at stopping the run. Personally, it's through the air where we've been having a little bit of an issue. But I will say that what deficiencies we've had in our offensive line, our defensive line has been pretty tremendous, pretty exceptional, especially about forcing things like interceptions. And last week, I think it was Jalen Braxton. They got the scoop and score. I'm pretty sure.
Yep.
But capitalizing on mistakes is a big thing for this Arkansas defense, and forcing those mistakes too. We have some very big, very tough guys. Landon Jackson at left tackle. He has had a standout year. I think for us, obviously stopping the run is a massive thing that we're going to have to do. And I think that is a key to victory for us against Auburn. But I'm more worried about what we're going to do through the air.
Like he said, his name's Landon Jackson, and that will be known nationwide by the end of Saturday night. I promise you that much. Landon Jackson, so much fun to watch. I mean, he's a monster. The way they can play him at pretty much, they can have him run up any gap, and he can absolutely obliterate a play, run or pass. So, as well as I'm still standing on business when it comes to Hudson Clark. Hudson Clark is actually quite a phenomenal player to play. Really cool story just in general. 37 tackles this year, 1 interception. I mean, that'll probably be like around 10 by the end of Saturday night. So Hudson Clark phenomenal guy, but phenomenal cornerback as well, in my opinion.
He's talked about Hudson Clark at every single pitch meeting we've had this semester, by the way.
Absolutely.
I mean, I used for an SEC page, and I can't remember the game, but I remember Hudson Clark, his first, his come out party. He had, a 3 interception game, 2020-ish, maybe.
And that's when he's not even trying. So
that was when people finally learned his name.
Yeah. And that's when he's not even trying. He's so that's Cooper's Kai and Lee for me. We got a 4-star.
What's the Arkansas version of Boogin?
Yeah. What is the term? It may still be. Is Boog a universal term?
No, it's just an Auburn thing.
I think it's just an Auburn thing.
It's because Bama fans used to call us said that we used to eat our boogers, so we started saying that we were booging.
Yeah.
So every time they try to come at us for a name, we just turn it into something we call ourselves Barnards now.
Okay.
So I don't think it's not going to be universal. It's basically, what's the word I'm looking for? Delusional, I think is the
probably
word.
Right. That's totally right.
I think that fits in the Hudson Clark gets 9 interceptions in a game. Okay.
Yeah. I like that. I respect that kind of dedication to a guy, because I certainly have the same thing for Kay and Lee. It's okay. I completely understand where you're coming from. Gentlemen, the time has come. Let's get our score predictions for Auburn, Arkansas. I got a feeling we're going to go 50-50 here, and that's completely fine. That is what this is here for. And then just so y'all...
As his internet dies. So we'll get Tarr's score prediction whenever he decides to get a better internet.
Right.
So I'll let y'all start it off, because alphabetically Arkansas comes before Auburn. I don't think it's going to be the same case this weekend win-wise. But Dylan, I'll let you start off with your score prediction.
Well, I think it's going to be another really close game, and I think just as has been the trend with Arkansas this season. But I think Arkansas keeps their bowl dreams alive. I think it's going to be a close one in Fayetteville. I think it's going to be 27-20.
I'm going to say pretty close to the same thing. A lot of it's going to be those red zone defensive plays, specifically for the Arkansas side defensively. I think we keep Auburn to just 1 in the end zone and then 2 through the uprights. I'm going to go 13-17 Arkansas.
All right, we finally got Tarr back on his phone this time around. Audio not going to be the best thing.
I'm sorry, my power went out.
Oh, no.
Just out of nowhere. It's not raining. That was super random. Where are we at? Have we already given both traveler picks here? I apologize, guys.
Yeah, so we got 27-20 from Dylan and said 17-13 from Cooper.
Yep.
Remember that?
Oh, no points scored in this game. I'll go 24-23 Tigers, but way closer than a lot of Auburn fans would like.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep the Arkansas pay train going. Another close loss by the Razorbacks. I'm gonna say Auburn wins. I'm gonna say a lot more points scored than we thought. I'm gonna say 27-21 Auburn. I think a couple of Alex McPherson field goals to round out the game. Keep his perfect streak alive.
You think that's going to be it for us? We're not going to have a bowl game.
Yes, I'm sorry, Dylan.
We were planning on a Trav Sports road trip.
Oh, don't worry. Even if y'all win, I don't think y'all are beating Missouri. Missouri. So take it. I will say, I asked this about the Texas A&M fans whenever we had them on about the rivalry with y'all. So what is y'all's thoughts on the rivalry with Texas A&M? And the second question, what is y'all's thoughts on the Battle Line rivalry as a whole?
Or just compare them.
Yeah.
I feel like the Southwest Classic is a bit more, I don't know, strong isn't the term I'm looking for.
Because A&M fans don't really care about the rivalry with Arkansas.
But it's difficult because I feel like Arkansas fans care more about beating A&M than they do Mizzou. Of course, Columbia, phenomenal city, phenomenal J school. But we have a large portion of students from Texas coming to Arkansas, as seen by both of us here. So, beyond that, I guess I'd have to say the A&M one has more strength to it of interest, but they don't really care about us. This isn't the Southwest Conference anymore. So there's not half the history there that there is, but.
I think y'all were probably on the same lines as A&M, where y'all probably hate LSU more than y'all hate any of the other rivalries, right? Of course, Alabama. Absolutely. Everyone hates Alabama, but LSU to y'all is it's probably y'all biggest rivalry.
Dylan's
I'd like to
projecting
see what
Alabama.
against OU. I feel like Arkansas OU could be a solid rivalry if we get it established here once they get in the SEC. Obviously, Arkansas and Texas have history going way far back, but I really think OU could be a great rivalry. I know, of course, in basketball, we have the Crimson Classic whenever we play them at the Box Center in Tulsa every year. So I'd really like to see a football rivalry be established with OU.
Yeah, that's gonna be fun because I know Auburn's going to be playing OU next year in Jordan-Hare Stadium, so that's going to be a fun game. Those tickets are going to be very pricey, as there are now 2 Harrison Tarrs in the backstage. So that's cool. There we go. And Tarr, you're back just in time.
Return, man. It's crazy.
You're back just in time.
Let's
right.
get up while we still have power here.
No, we're good. I actually switched from my phone. My internet's back.
Gotcha.
I got a
Okay.
nice email from my apartment complex saying, "quote Sorry, we don't know what happened." So I love that.
All right. Well, before Tar's internet goes out anymore, Tar, you
the
want
first time this has ever happened. Don't put that on.
you want to flex the shirt and then we can get into the predictions.
Yes, I'll do that. I'll do that super quick. Now that I'm back from the land of the powerless, I can only politely ask you to go purchase your very own College Loop War Report co-branded Feelin' Loopy t-shirt on sale for only $25. You can pick that up at thewarreport.com. And if you don't feel like typing in the search bar, that's okay. Neither do we. You can pick it up in the description to any of our shows. You can just click the link and go purchase your very own. If you purchase the shirt, use hashtag Feelin' Loopy. We'll throw it up on the next stream/episode of the College Loop podcast. Make sure you tag us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, or just email it to the collegeloop1@gmail.com if you really feel that way. That makes my life fine and easy. It doesn't make anything any more difficult for me. Also, while you're there or while you're hanging out and looking in the description, make sure you like, subscribe, and ring the bell so you can stay up to date with all the latest College Loop content and get to see more of the Traveler Sports in the future. Who knows? Who's to say? Maybe we'll.
So now we have. Now we have that. We have to. Y'all have to subscribe to feed Colin, and now you have to buy. Now you have to buy the shirt to pay for Tar's power bill.
That's right. Yeah, you have to buy the shirt and pay for my power bill. But yeah, you make sure you stay up to date with all the content coming out right here at the College Loop. Like I said, Traveler Sports now friends of the program, friends of the show. So see if we can get it back on for the Must Bus.
Yeah, we would
And
love
softball.
to come back on for the Must Bus.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Makes us happy. All right, gentlemen, I'm going to give the reins over to Dylan. Not that he didn't have to take them over when my power decided to flee anyways, but I'm going to give them back to Mr. Larck. We're going to get through our pick'ems. I know you guys got to get out of here in about 10 minutes, so we'll try to cruise through this thing for you guys.
Yeah, so if y'all ready to make some picks, here at the College Loop, we like to keep y'all inside the loop of Auburn athletics, but from time to time, we like to dabble in some teams that are a little bit outside of the loop. Back for our Week 11 pick'ems, and just for sake of time, going to get started right into it. For the 11 a.m. slate, we have probably the game of the day as the number 3 Michigan Wolverines, the Michigan Connor Stallions, travel into Beaver Stadium, take on the number 10 Penn State Nittany Lions. Michigan is currently a 4.5-point favorite. And, Cooper, I'll let you kick it off here.
I'm going to stick. I know it's the simple, easy answer. Give me Michigan. I'm still standing firm that they have such a phenomenal offense that they're going to be able to go into Beaver Stadium and take care of business per se.
Yeah, and I'm gonna second that, and I just haven't been tremendously impressed with Penn State. If I'm being completely honest, that's about as hot of a take as you'll get out of me. But I just haven't been tremendously impressed by Penn State, and I also think that I think Michigan's probably going to move up in the polls a little bit.
Tar's cooking something. We got
I was just getting ready to say that the Arkansas Traveler knows ball, folks. Make sure you subscribe to that because this one's Michigan and this one's Michigan big.
Yeah, I'm not going to say Michigan big, but I'm also not going to say Michigan either. I made the prediction earlier this offseason that Penn State's going to make it to the college football playoff, and I'm going to stick by that. Even though the loss to Ohio State happened, I think they take down take down Michigan here in Beaver Stadium.
I want some of your drugs.
All right. Some of us try to stay true to being right. Some of us can't be as wrong as you and just give up on all your picks.
Or some of us can admit when we're wrong. Next pick.
I can admit when I'm wrong. Another 11 a.m. slate. You got the number 8 UAT, whatever a Crimson Tide is, as they travel to Lexington, Kentucky, to take on the Kentucky Wildcats, who are 6-3, but not a very good 6-3, I must say. So I'll let anyone who wants to pick this game go first.
Tied by a lot.
I mean, I don't personally think that it's going to be a great game for Kentucky, if I'm being completely honest.
Go on ahead and pay your mortgage next month. Bet moneyline Alabama. Take care of that. Alabama's got it all the way through.
Let's not say all the way through. Let's not say that quite yet. There's a game left on their schedule that could be a trip-up spot for them. But I'm also going to go with UAT here, sadly, to cover. Because, I want Kentucky to be good, but they're just not good at football right now. All right, Tarr. Now for your favorite game, because you're going to be at this game, right?
Yes.
Tarr is going to be making his ascent to Clemson, South Carolina, to watch his second favorite team, the Yakets of Georgia Tech, take on the Clemson Tigers. Clemson is a 14-point favorite following their surprising win over Notre Dame. Tarr, why don't you kick this one off?
Fellas, my dad is a Georgia Tech alumnus. I grew up a diehard Georgia Tech fan. Every fiber in my being makes me think the Jackets can win this game. But let me tell you something. Clemson is horrendously bad when I pick them. They are horrendously good when I pick against them. And damn it, I want to have some fun on Saturday. So give me Clemson. Give me Clemson to cover.
And you know what? Anytime that I see Georgia Tech come across my TV guide, I always turn on a Georgia Tech game. I don't know. It's something about that school. I'm just always excited to watch Tech. And I think that this is going to be a great game as well. But you know what? I'm gonna pick Georgia Tech here, even though I really don't think they're gonna win.
He's a ball knower.
Great game.
Where'd you go?
Give it to Clemson, but it's closer than 14 points.
Screw it, Dylan. I'm taking the Jackets. I can't not.
No, you're not doing it.
I'm not. I'm taking the Jackets. I can't not do it. I'm using I was trying to use the reverse psychology, but I'm buzzing too hard right now, boys.
All right. For the sake of my prediction record now that Tarr's picked against Clemson, I'm going to pick Clemson to win because Tarr is an idiot. And, dude, we are Auburn. We are superstitious about this stuff. What are you doing?
Listen, I'm living the Haynes King experience, and that is an experience that is not always good and it's not always bad. So I just don't know what could happen this game. I do think Tech can go in, and if this was a night game, you could book it. Fun fact: Tech has beat Clemson all but one time they've played them at night in the rain. That's a true stat. I wish it was a night game and it was raining. Yeah, guys, I'm a deep rooted jacket. But yeah, I gotta book for my boys. I gotta ride for them, and I gotta be behind the king that was promised in Haynes King.
I'm not gonna hear any more crap from you about my Penn State pick.
Georgia Tech has the Brent key to every door. Trust.
I'm about to block you from the StreamYard until you get some mental help, man.
My Wi-Fi already tried that. I'm invincible.
Dang it. All right. Well, the next game on the docket is going to stay in the ACC, and I'm deeming this the Dylan Larck was right game as the 6-3 Miami Hurricanes travel to Tallahassee to take on the 9-0 Florida State Seminoles. Florida State's a 14-point favorite, and Tarr cannot stand that I was right about both these teams.
Yeah, Florida State cover, unfortunately.
Agreed.
Yeah. No, you're not going to get any disagreement out of us.
Yeah, Knowles are hot.
Yeah.
They're going to stay hot.
Another one of my playoff teams.
I'm gonna scream.
Florida State to cover. I love Miami. I love Miami. I can't lie.
Yeah.
But I like Florida State this
You
year.
just like their little hand sign thing.
I enjoyed that little run at the beginning of the season too. It was exciting.
I enjoyed them running the football when they should have taken a knee.
I bet you did. I bought a Miami shirt because of this year. But got the Miami, Utah.
Perfect. Next.
Speaking of Utah, going over to the Pac-12 in Seattle, Washington, Cooper's old stomping grounds, as the number 18 ranked Utah Utes travel to Seattle, Washington on the Huskies of Washington, who rank number 5 in the country. Washington's a 9.5-point favorite, which I think is very considerate.
Start us off, Cooper.
Huskies. One of the prettiest scenes in college football. They're gonna make this game ugly. It's not gonna be close. I'm going UW all the way. Phoenix Heisman campaign.
Yeah, and I was going to ask you what you were thinking about. Your boy winning a Heisman, but I think I have to go with Washington too. I've just been extremely impressed with the Washington program, especially after the USC one. I think that they're going to be a tough team to beat in the playoffs.
The Utes can be scary. Don't get me wrong at all. I mean, that school is known for pulling off some impressive wins when they're doubted, but UW takes care of business.
You see, I was going to take UW anyways, but Cooper's got me so electrified over here that I'm taking UW to cover. That's where we're at. Go roll Huskies, baby. Let's go.
Roll Huskies.
I couldn't pick my other favorite U-centered team, so I'm going to go with my Utah Utes here in this game. Here's the thing about Washington. They have Penix, yes. They don't have a defense. They cannot play defense. Utah can play defense, and I think that goes into their favor. So I'm going to go
Cooper's vibes on their side, so Edge Washington, period.
I'm going to rock with the Utah Utes here. I like Kyle Whittingham, and I like the whole pig farmer thing that Bryson Barnes has got going on over there. So
it's all good. Only one Dylan can know ball at the same time on this podcast, and it's not you, Dylan.
Bow down to Dylan.
Exactly.
All right. Well, nice. Thank y'all for that. Well, go back to keeping it in the 2:30 slate. Going on the CBS. So have fun with Brad and Gary on this call. Cool. As a number 13, Tennessee Volunteers travel up to Columbia, Missouri, take on the number 14 Missouri Tigers. Tennessee, a surprising favorite in this game.
MIZ.
Yeah. Well, I can say that personally, we are hoping to stay bowl eligible. So if Missouri could show a weakness here, we would really appreciate it. But I do think Mizzou's gonna handle this pretty handily.
Agreed. Mizzou is a deadly team at home. As much as it pains me to say it, give it to the Tigers.
I think Mizzou is also going to win this game on their way to a 10-2 season. So just to rub it in some more about Missouri being a good team.
You were such an asshole. These guys have been nothing but nice.
They picked Auburn. They picked Auburn to lose. They picked Auburn to lose on Saturday. I kind of got to do some stuff out of spite.
And when the Hogs go to a bowl game, we will pay for your plane ticket there. We will pay for your plane ticket there.
No. That's not how that works, bro. He's been mean. I've been nice. You fly me out to come watch the Hogs. I have a bro.
Yeah, you can crash.
I got a hog hat.
That thing is uncomfortable. That thing is uncomfortable to wear. I don't know how y'all wear that thing unless Tarr's just deteriorating, because that thing gave me a migraine by putting it on. There was no air going to my brain when I put that thing on.
Next pick, but it is a very fun hat to wear after a few beers.
And I will say, y'all won't have to pay for my ticket to go to the bowl game, because if y'all went out, y'all were going to the Birmingham Bowl. I can just drive there.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So we can all just drive there. Well, next game up, 6:00 kick. Number 9, Ole Miss traveling to Athens, Georgia, to play the University of Georgia in Athens, who are the number 2 team in the country. Georgia is a 10.5-point favorite. Tarr, you have skin in this game. I'll let you pick first.
Yeah, Georgia by 1 million.
Yeah, I think this is going to be it's going to be a really fun game to watch. But yeah, I have a hard time finding a way for Ole Miss to beat Georgia.
It'll be fun for like a quarter.
Yeah, Lane Kiffin. I'm glad Auburn didn't offer him anything, because he's not a big game coach, and this is the biggest game of his career. And you're going to watch him do what Lane Kiffin does best in big game situations: lose. So I'm also sadly going to have to pick Georgia here. All right, next up, we got a Big 12 game. I believe the only Big 12 game on the entire thing. The West Virginia Mountaineers, where my family on my dad's side calls home, as they travel to Norman, Oklahoma, who are on a 2-game losing streak for the number 17 Oklahoma Sooners. And the Sooners are a 13-point favorite.
Let's get weird. Roll Nears.
Yeah, Oklahoma really needs to get things going, especially after losing Bedlam to OSU. Not particularly a great loss either, but I still think that they're going to have enough to beat West Virginia. I think that they are going to right the ship here, and I think that they're going to find their footing.
He's correct. I mean, OU's been showing weakness since they played Cincinnati. That game was ugly and hard to watch, but ultimately they're going to be able to take care of business. In Norman, give me the Sooners.
Yeah, Tar, if you hadn't picked West Virginia, I was probably going to pick West Virginia because this game is going to go both ways for me. West Virginia surprisingly 6-3. They're going to be 6-4 after this year, but I still don't think Oklahoma's good enough to get to play Texas again in the Big 12 championship. So I'm going to go OU here, but OU I think is firmly out of the Big 12 championship conversation. Now to swing it back to the ACC, we have a basketball game on a football Saturday as the Duke Blue Devils travel not very far to Chapel Hill, take on the number 24 ranked North Carolina Tar Heels, who are a 14.5-point favorite.
Duke in the ugliest game you've watched all year. North Carolina kind of stinks.
Yeah. Duke has been another one of those teams that this season specifically, anytime I've seen the football team come across my screen, I click on it to watch, just because it's been a fun season for Duke. And I do think it's not going to be the best game, but I'll ride with Duke.
Yep. Battle of the 4.0 honor students there. I'm going to go with Duke.
Some valedictorians on the field.
Seriously. It's going to be some empty libraries on Saturday. Surprisingly empty libraries.
I'm going to be the odd man.
I'm
going to be the odd man out here. I think North Carolina has the offense. Duke kind of struggles a little bit when it comes to scoring offensively. Their defense is very good. I think UNC wins a very ugly game behind Drake May.
UNC wasn't good enough to take down Jackets, but yeah.
It was Miami, but Miami took down your Clemson Tigers, so I don't want to hear it. And our last game on the docket features another team Tar was wrong about. As the USC Trojans travel to Eugene, Oregon, to take on the Bo Nix Heisman frontrunner-led Oregon Ducks. Oregon is a 15-point favorite.
Yeah, I was horrendously wrong about USC this year, guys. I had them in the college football playoff. I was horrendously wrong about this team, and I'll be a man enough to admit it. Bo Nix may win the freaking Heisman. Someone from the Pacific Northwest winning the Heisman this year. Bo Nix is there. Oregon covers. Oregon covers big. Caleb Williams is going to go home and cry and watch more TV with his dogs.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think this is a difficult game to predict, and I don't imagine that any of us are going to disagree on it. I think Oregon's going to cover.
Agreed. And it's awful too because they have one of the worst fight something songs ever. I mean, I hate Oregon.
He's just got to find something.
That's the Husky. That's the Husky coming out of you, huh?
Yeah. Right. Like again, don't try and do anything silly. Take Oregon and take it in a blowout game.
Dylan, you taking Oregon?
I'm going to rock with Mr. Bodacious Bo Nix in this game on his way to the Heisman Trophy.
To being the fourth Auburn Tigers that wins the Heisman Trophy. Anyways.
Wins it.
You never know.
Whatever. It doesn't impact me one iota. Traveling gentlemen, thank you guys so much for joining the show today. Before y'all get out of here, I know we ran over, and I'm really, really sorry. I apologize on our behalf. But
no worries.
Let everybody know where they can find you guys, where they can check out your written work, where they can support you guys as you guys advance in your professional careers and your journalistic endeavors. It's been a pleasure hanging out with you guys. You're friends of the program. You're welcome back anytime.
Great. Yeah, thanks for having us. We really appreciate it. We would love to come back on. For me, at Dylan W. Stewart, DYLAN STWART on Twitter or X. My apologies. And then
the only way to spell Dylan, by the way. Only way to spell Dylan.
Cooper R. Gant on Twitter. Thank you again for having us. It's been such a pleasure getting to hang out with y'all.
And uatrap.com.
uatrap.com.
Yes, go check out all the great work from the brilliant young student journalists there at the University of Arkansas. We dog on a lot of other SEC schools, but damn it, we all got a pretty good education. So let's make sure we flex the brain muscles. You know what I'm saying? Thank you guys for hanging out. We're gonna cut you all loose in 2 seconds. I promise we'll be out of here in just a moment. If you've not already picked up your Feeling Loopy t-shirt, you know the drill. It's in the description of all of our shows. And while you're down there, if you want to go ahead and give us a thumbs up, 5 stars, whatever that your streaming platform of choice gives you the best rating, we would certainly appreciate that. And on top of that, make sure you like, subscribe, ring the bell right here on the YouTube channel. Make sure you stay up to date with all the cool stuff we're doing, like hanging out with the Arkansas Traveler Sports Group right here on the College Loop podcast. I'm Harrison Tarr at by Harrison Tarr on the Bird app. If you want to come hang out with me, I am always here to be your punching bag for bad takes. And you guys have made it painfully aware to me that you guys are okay with me being your punching bag, and that's okay. I'm cool with it. I embrace it. Take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. Love on each other. Make sure you check up on your people. Dylan, let's get out of here.
Of course, I'm Dylan Larck at Blood Tank on Twitter/X. So you type in, it redirects. Also have me on Instagram as well at Dylan Larck at DYLAN. Only correct way to spell it again. LARCK. Cannot stress that enough. DILOLONs do not count as Dylans. They are lesser individuals because of how they spell their name incorrectly. But of course, you have us right here on the College Loop. So like, comment, and subscribe right here on YouTube. And of course, you have us on Twitter, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook as well, all at the College Loop. And all that being said, Tar's arm got stuck.
I'm trying to leave, bro.
Your power's going out, but you can't have your muscles going out too. And with all that being said, this has been the College Loop pregame show.
Love you guys.